attention. The movie guys love movies. Any comments made about a character that is regenerated in a movie over and over again are purely for entertainment purposes only. Isn't that right, Woody Allen?
Woody Allen has a new movie coming out?
Well, I wouldn't say new.
You know, you dig a 77-year-old man and you feel bad.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say you dig him his grave.
He's still dating women younger than I am, so, you know.
Oh.
Can't feel too bad for him.
Hey, welcome to the Movie Showcast, everybody, part of the vast and sprawling Movie Guys empire. And you shoot off a guy's head with his pants down, believe me, Texas is not the place you want to get caught. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with rants, sketches, previews, characters, jokes, bits, special guests, and more. You can expect that in the next hour or so as we broadcast from the Admirals Club in the Flyover Zone in beautiful Burbank, California. Now, if your iTunes lists, our show is a video podcast too, so you can head over to YouTube to watch the show. This week, Aubrey Plaza flirts with exploring all the sexual adventures fans of Parks and Recreation have been dying to teach her for 5 seasons, and the further adventures of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Ooh, let's play a little bit of that, shall we?
Wolverine!
Wait, that's not it. Here's the clip.
What they did to me, what I am, can't be undone. Don't be so sure. Not healing. What the hell is happening?
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
Now, we want to get to the preview of the Wolverine.
I had no idea what's happening.
I've actually seen the
Nothing makes
visuals that
sense.
accompany that, and I still don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's happening. I know what's happening. I'm not going to go see that. That's what's happening.
It will be dramatic, whatever it is.
Oh.
It's going to be awesome.
The man is a dude who needs a manicure. That's the whole movie's about.
Another superhero movie.
So Metro.
Wonderful.
We will preview the Wolverine as soon as possible, but if you listen to our old show in the Toad Hop Network, we used to regularly have a segment called Retractions.
Well,
where
I don't
we
know if I'd say regularly, Paul. I mean, it happened
We
every
get
once in a
that
while.
much
Routinely.
wrong.
Here and there.
Routinely.
When needed, when it called for.
Because Lee never had a retraction.
Well, we would do apologies for incorrect statements, that kind of thing. But we've done pretty well here in the Admirals Club, factually, and no retractions thus far. But, Lee, I understand there is something we might want to take a second look at from last week's show.
Retraction!
Well, sadly, Paul, yes, there is an occasion now for us to have our first retractions here in the Admirals Club. And as everyone has probably already heard, our dear friend, Mr. Ryan Reynolds, had what we call in the business a double Ishtar.
Oh.
Bad week.
Both his movies, R.I.P.D. and Turbo, pretty much tanked at the box office. Now, they were both really big visual extravaganzas. They were both really big budgets. And they were both beaten by a much smaller film, The Conjuring. And last week during our show, we previewed both R.I.P.D. and Turbo. And, well, again, not often, but every once in a while, we do say things that we end up regretting, quite frankly. And, well, last week we were heard to say this. Turbo, a snail voiced by Ryan Reynolds, who's going to have a hit this weekend if he has to be in every single movie to do it.
He keeps being in very high-level stuff, and yet he's not really knocking it out of the park at the box office.
He's Steve Guttenberg.
He's late Steve Guttenberg.
I loved Van Wilder. I was like, I want to see this guy in everything, and then he kept being in stuff. He's a little too perfect. Box office ipecac Ryan Reynolds, who continues his streak of being in things.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds dies in the beginning. Oh, if only all Ryan Reynolds movies started this way.
I noticed one person who did not dish on the poor Ryan Reynolds. Just saying.
Well, we ran out of time.
Well, we'll make sure the script's divvied up differently next time. Yeah. Now, of course, we didn't mean to pile on, and the movie guys understand that we do have somewhat of an influence over the industry, and so we hope we didn't, adversely affect the box office there. So, what we really mean to say is that we feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, not financially, he's doing all right, or romantically for that matter.
No,
We don't
he's
feel
doing good there.
professionally still, he's got a career.
He had 2 movies. Yeah.
Well, I heard he was pretty good in that movie Buried. So
I didn't
see it.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
I didn't know he was in that.
Retraction!
All right, the summer. Welcome.
I feel better.
How I
feel
missed
cleansed.
that.
Oh wait,
Not really something we got wrong. We just felt bad because
Yeah.
we were saying how big a failure the guy was in terms of box office, and he kept being and stuff. And then he just really, I mean, I don't know. I do feel bad for the guy. Again, not financially, not in terms of his.
I'm sure he has a
social
nice
life.
house,
not
great
with the
car.
sexual resume of
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and Alanis
No,
Morissette.
not for his abs. I don't feel
No.
bad for those, but boy, it just must have been a horrible week for him.
He doesn't leave the house, right? You don't go out to Cafe Earth and go.
and get the looks.
Yeah, you
there
know.
he is,
Yeah,
Mr.
Oh.
Battlefield Earth and Heaven's Gate in the same weekend.
Ooh.
Turbo
Yeah.
made some money though, to be honest, but it's not going to be the.
Yeah, but this is like $150 million, and what was the other one? It was
180
like
or something
$180 million
crazy, yeah.
for
R.I.P.D..
RIPD.
The good news is,
They
though,
got beat
with
by a $20 million movie.
Turbo, a lot of people don't pay attention to who actually does the voices, and his voice isn't that distinct. So maybe not as many people from like Middle America will know that was his voice.
Yeah, I mean that's not being sold on Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, so
but-
he might be safe there, but the other one has his face all
The
over it.
Croods was a hit. He's in that. Again, that's not selling Ryan Reynolds to make the
Yeah.
movie make money, but it was a hit and he was in it.
That's
so.
not even a hit for Nicolas Cage.
You know,
Wait, for Nicolas Cage? You
Could
know.
be.
Oh yeah, you're right. For him, I guess it is.
Yeah. Beat the
You
shit
know,
out of
I love the
beat the
fact
shit out
that-
of the Ghost Rider 2 returns. I'll give you that.
I'm sure the dude is doing all right though. Jeff Bridges probably just shook that movie off. It's
Oh,
like, all
he
right.
shrugged that
Hey.
off.
Did
Oh, at
not
Comic-Con,
care.
he's got a movie where he's fighting dragons, and he's drinking whiskey and fighting dragons in
Yeah.
like a 12th century thing. He doesn't give a
Yeah,
damn.
he shrugged RIPD off like a bad cough.
Hey, man, I'm on to the next one. He's fine. Well, listen, Adam's about to get excited because we're going to launch into the 8th superhero movie of the summer with the Wolverine.
Wolverines!
It's the biggest movie coming out this weekend, so Adam, let's talk about it.
Nice. This is a great song, actually. I always thought this was kind of a jokey song. I listened to it recently. I'm like, this is a great.
Has anyone ever argued that? I always thought it was a great
Oh, okay.
song.
I always thought it was like one of those cheesy Pac-Man Fever songs. And I listened to it recently. I'm like, no, this is like a great.
Pac-Man.
It's a great new wave song.
Kind of trapped in the 80s, but yeah, if you like the new wave thing, is one of the better ones.
Yeah, new wave.
Hell,
And I
there's
like this-
instruments in it. That
Yeah.
alone gets it points.
You could
compared
actually
to that.
play it on a guitar, so.
Hugh Jackman, one of cinema's most badass Hughs, returns to the big screen in The Wolverine, the X-Men mutant with an anger management problem and unlimited lives.
When we last left Wolverine, he was getting his claws sharpened in 2008's X-Men Origins Wolverine, a poorly received semi-flop entry in the mutant's adventures. But it was a little handicapped, as it also starred Ryan Reynolds.
Get the retractions ready for next week.
We wrote
Paul.
that before we wrote the retractions.
Despite being titled to sound like the first in a series, The Wolverine marks the 6th feature appearance of the superhero on the big screen, if you count X-Men First Class, his little appearance there, and the only time one actor has played a superhero 5 times in a movie, unless you count Tom Cruise in everything.
And Jackman seems to have put on some muscle to play the toughest character to ever sport mutton chops.
For those of you who have been in a coma, or don't care, or are Karen, Wolverine is a mutant born with the ability to heal from any injury, so he's sort of the Johnny Knoxville of superhumans. This made him an ideal subject to undergo an experiment to outfit his bones with an indestructible metal called adamantium, named, of course, for its inventor, Adamant.
Unlike the previous Wolverine movie,
All right.
which was adapted from the instruction manual to an American standard low-flush toilet, this, The Wolverine, is based on one of the costumed hero's most famous stories, written by Sin City's Frank Miller. Let's play a little clip from The Wolverine.
He gave me strength to journey on. Who am I? Who am I?
Shut up! You guys didn't even pick a part where he was mixed and had the levels or anything. That was a raw recording.
It's all
Sang-
raw. He sang live on the set.
Yeah,
The
but then you
point,
sweeten it.
Karen, I think
Yes.
the point was that's not actually a clip from The Wolverine.
That is not an actually clip from the
Gonna
movie.
go ahead
concerned.
and skip right past the musical
I
talk.
just think he has a lovely voice. I just wasn't.
That sounded great.
All right.
Who said it sounded bad?
This is one of Wolverine's most famous comic book adventures that takes him to Japan, where he seeks a cure for immortality. Temping, maybe?
Japan? Well, he better be fighting Mothras.
The ever The ever-tormented Wolverine has a creeping desire to have his immortality end, because apparently there's something depressing to be found in running around scoring hot chicks and kicking ass.
Yes, like the angst-ridden teenager, all he wants to do is die and meet One Direction, which is actually the preferable order for those things to happen in.
Now, why do guys who can live forever always want to die? I mean, do you know how many free birthday grand slams that is at Denny's?
As if the entire existence of another Wolverine movie isn't exciting enough, the movie is written by Jack Reacher and the usual suspects Christopher McQuarrie, and directed by James Mangold of 3:10 to Yuma and Night and Day.
Now, I'd watch that team make a biopic about the guy who invented the hand gesture for jacking off. But a Wolverine movie? I am so in.
Actually, here's a little piece of trivia that might brighten your day. Wolverine was never supposed to be Hugh Jackman. Up until several weeks, it's true. Up until several weeks before X-Men shot, the role belonged to Scottish actor Doug Ray Scott, who had to be replaced because Mission Impossible 2, which he appeared in, was running 2 weeks behind.
Wow.
Who do you think has gotten the most death threats in the wake of Doug Ray Scott missing the chance to play Wolverine 5 times? Tom Cruise? Director John Woo? Or the assistant director in charge of scheduling that piece of shit?
That's the Wolverine!
Adam, are you suggesting that Mission Impossible 2 was not quality film?
I'm just saying from Doug Ray Scott's point of view, it might be better to play Wolverine 5 times and become one of the most famous superheroes ever to grace the screen.
Do you think he could
as
have pulled
opposed
it off?
to all the movies he did after Mission
He
Impossible
went on to
2.
appear in Ever After with Drew Barrymore, which now he calls a piece of shit.
But do you think he would have pulled off Wolverine 5 times?
Maybe not. You know,
That's
I
true.
mean, maybe
Who knows?
that's a good point. Maybe Wolverine wouldn't have jumped off the screen the way it did.
I'm
with Hugh
wondering.
Jackman.
Because I don't... Doug Ray Scott, he could be sitting in the room right now. I wouldn't know it.
That's
He is
the
sitting in
sad
here.
point.
That's not
Yeah.
Jamie. It's Doug Scott.
Actually, before we get too much into discussion about the Wolverine,
Yes.
I want to go to what could potentially be a counterpoint to all the excitement surrounding this movie that's here in this room. So now we go to a little something called Karen's Perspective.
That's what I think.
Is that
Karen?
the Karen's perspective theme?
Apparently. Well,
Karen, have at.
yes, I don't know. It just sounds like a guy with a lot of Edward Scissorhands shit going on.
All right,
That's what
Karen.
I think.
Thank God we chimed in with you. Talked over that. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Now, last night at the pre-production
Yes.
meeting, that was supposed to be a big introduction.
I know.
We talked about minutes of
I know.
orchestral overtures.
Oh, well.
Play that again,
Might
please,
work better
Paul.
this way.
You want to hear it again?
I do. It's fun.
All right.
That's what I think.
I'm going to go for a punchline. I think that works.
Yeah.
Scissor handsy manicuring.
And
shit.
I
But-
think you're
all
kind of
right.
you're kind of dead on with that. I
It
think,
does come across as like a character that is apart from others, and now he has to find a way to meet those others without hurting them with his claws.
Oh,
That's what I meant. What?
I thought you meant literally just a guy with scissor hands.
Oh, he looks like that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think he'll be doing the haircuts and all that?
He
of
might
the
be
women
doing
in
that. I
the
think that
cul-de-sac?
middle-aged cul-de-sac housewives are going to
The
find him very
topiaries?
attractive.
You have to be.
Yes.
They'll be so angry.
He'll
They'll
be so
angry
pissed.
topiaries. Just
And they'll like
whole
their heads will
neighborhood.
be cut off instead of being like Santa. It'll just be his arms and
That's
legs.
a whole different Wolverine. If they had tried to make the Wolverine in like the early 80s or whatever, because they just couldn't get superhero movies right for so many decades, that might have been where it ended up.
yeah. And it's no doubt with James Mangold. I'm looking forward to it being pretty decent. I mean, not only.
He's a good director.
Yeah. There was there was one other film he directed that's right up. I can't remember right now.
Have you
Damn
s-
it!
have you seen-
3:10 to
well,
Yuma,
Walk
Night
the
and Day.
Line?
Walk the Line. Walk the Line is a good film too.
Have
Walk
you
the
seen
Line.
Night and Day?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Night and Day is one
Fantastic.
of my favorite movies.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
It has
It's
a
a
lot of
great
Tom
movie.
Cruise in it, which I like.
The Tom Cruisiest.
It's very Tom Cruisey movie.
But Karen, have you seen it?
No.
You would enjoy it.
Oh really?
You would enjoy it.
You would love that.
What
movie.
is it?
And I know you're sometimes like
I
"Yeah,
gotta
Tom
add it to
Cruise."
my list. What's
it's
it called?
So charming. It's such a charming.
Oh, put that on your
action
list.
movie.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
doing
putting it
that
on
right
my
now. I
list.
see.
Yes. What is it called?
Night and Day.
Night and Day.
All right.
Now
With
let
a
me
big cat.
add a little perspective from
Thank
my
you, Adam.
own point of view.
Okay,
here.
Adam's perspective. Oh, well, this is what I think.
Bub.
You're wrong, and let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Doot.
Pointer count.
I'm going to put Adam's name by this, so if I don't like it, I can know
You
who to
can-
blame.
Oh no!
Give
I'll,
me some
you know
shit
what? I'll
on
pile
our
on.
Yeah,
very
you-
successful podcast.
The whole table recommends it. All right, enough of your
All
phone.
right.
Adam.
Pull that way.
it is just the very idea. Now, I am a huge Wolverine fan from way back when, when I started collecting comic books, like really heavy in like 85 or whatever. That was like when Wolverine, he had yet to have his like own story yet. In fact, I think that's right when the Frank Miller story that this one's based on came out. And he was like the coolest thing for like kids to gravitate to. Like if you're like 13, you know, it was like the coolest character to like because he was this rogue and he was this badass and everybody loved Wolverine. Wolverine and Punisher. They were the shit. You know, it was no longer like Superman and that sort of stuff. It was like the cool dark heroes. They screwed up so many superhero movies and so few superhero movies came out for so long. The very idea that Wolverine would ever make an appearance in a movie, that they could ever get that off the ground, much less get it right, I remember when X-Men first came out, I just couldn't believe, like, when he showed up on screen, it was just one of those superhero experiences where you're like, they didn't make a movie about Wolverine. There he is. Like, he's right there. And the first time he pops his claws, I was just like, and the sound it makes and everything like that. I mean, it was so exciting. I mean, but the idea that now there's 5 Wolverine movies, and even if it went away forever, and it won't, he's going to be back next summer.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. But it's just extremely exciting because I understand, unlike this new generation that's watching superhero movies that doesn't like Man of Steel, you idiots, you horrible people, go watch. I want to take all of them and throw them in a time machine and make them watch Steel, and that's the only superhero movie you get all year long.
Quite a rant for a guy struggling with his voice. That was
Okay.
No, I'm with you. And what a rare
what
treat
I
to have the
think.
same guy play him. I mean, if you've been watching Superman movies,
They haven't had to recast him.
no, same guy.
Yeah.
And they at Comic-Con they just told him that's going to break a record for playing the superhero character
The most times.
when he appears in his 7th movie with X-Men Days of Future Past.
Well, yeah. 'Cause Robert Downey Jr. will play Iron Man for the 4th time only when Avengers 2 comes out. Oh, no, it's
For the 5th time.
5th time.
Oh, so
How many
Ryan's too.
did Christopher Reeve get?
4.
4.
Four.
I think he would have gone on had he remained
George Clooney,
upright.
1.
Yeah, I don't know what they might have had. I don't know what they might have had to do to that franchise.
Well, he would have had to
to
take
save it from Quest for Peace without a full reboot with new actors and everything.
Yeah.
There would have been a steroid scandal, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
with Christopher Reeves.
But I'm sure it's why is mortality a gift? Like if you're the Hulk or Superman or Captain America or Wolverine,
A gift or a curse?
well,
it's healing.
it's something he's looking for. He's like, I want this. I want it to be a gift to have mortality.
I thought he's trying to get rid of his mortality.
He's trying to get rid of his immortality.
Oh, it's that's
Yeah, 'cause
flammable, inflammable.
You're
That's
both
where he
saying
lost
that,
me.
You're saying
Yeah.
the same thing, yeah.
Mortality and immortality are two different things.
Regardless,
You're saying
irregardless.
it
I
from-
got it mixed up.
Yeah, you're saying from different directions. On a total tangent.
6 to 1, half
just
dozen the other.
because this makes me laugh. One time there's this discount store near my home, and they had Halloween costumes, and they were really cheap. And it was kind of like that thing with the word, you sort of get it wrong. Oh, God, I'm going to mess this up. They were... Oh, flame retarded is what it said on the
Flame
costumes instead of flame retardant. And so they had to sell them for like $2. Swear to God.
Because
Awesome.
they were neither of
Hey,
those things.
Right.
That was the initial
Yes.
try to make it so it wouldn't be flammable.
Right.
Was that they made it so the costume didn't understand the concept.
Fire. They just dumbed it down.
Look, sure, it can still catch fire, but at least it doesn't understand the concept.
It doesn't know it's burning.
And I remember one
Johnny
of
Human Flame.
So
the,
what do
one
you
of the
say?
costumes, just so you know, one of the costumes was a Martin Short when he would play that little nerdy guy.
Ed Grimley.
Ed
You bought
Grimley.
that?
We have one.
Oh yeah, you bought that.
There was
I
an
have
Ed
Ed
Grimley
like
costume.
the classic plastic
Yes!
Ben Cooper with
Yeah.
the
With
rubber
the
band
rubber-
mask
Yeah.
that would cut into your face.
I'll have to make a note to get that for next week. It's awesome.
Wasn't that the most fun thing? There was a little, because I had like the Superman mask, which was
Flame
Retardant.
retarded.
Flame retarded.
It was retardant.
because it was a face.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I could just curl my hair. Okay, Batman mask I don't have, but the greatest thing about it was like there was that little. It was made of such sharp plastic, and you stick your
hurt.
tongue for
Yeah.
some reason. I don't know why I love cutting my tongue up, sticking it out of that thing, in and out all night as it dripped like your
Sweat and your snot inside.
sweat
Yeah.
and your snot and
right,
exhale.
right
Oh.
under your eyes, they would dig into.
Well, I think we all lived in a part of the world where October comes and you got to bundle up.
Oh,
October 31st,
yeah.
it might be snowing. And so we would have to put our winter jackets underneath.
Yeah.
I had an Evil
did.
Knievel, one of those. So Evil Knievel
Fat
was,
Evil Knievel.
yeah, it was Fat Evil Knievel. And it was just a white suit. I could have been a Klansman,
Yeah.
but for the
Also, most likely fat.
That would have been fine.
Also, the part of the country
Yeah,
where
that's
you
where
grew
we
up.
fit right in. Not weird.
I had to keep pointing out the American flag trim on it,
Ah.
which still didn't convince them I wasn't a Klansman.
Klansman.
But
Did it come with a cape?
it came with a cape, and it came,
That's
and it was
awesome.
like just a one-piece pajama, and you had to put it over your winter coat. And because you were so bundled up, you couldn't move. And I got to the end of the driveway, took a header, and ripped the whole thing up. So the rest of the night, it was just a down coat with an Evil Knievel mask. That was because the rest of it was shreds.
Oh my god! I can't. Yeah, I always had to be princess in a snowsuit or fairy with moon boots.
Well, that's that. Well, that's the Wolverine.
So that's
Yes.
night and day.
Tangent.
Basically, the point is what Adam had said.
Oh,
has already
mortality,
said.
immortality.
Oh, what? Yes, about that?
Flame retardant. Flame retarded.
Well,
Flammable
what if
and
he finds love and he wants to be? This is why vampires always want mortality, right? Vampires hate that
So you're asking who wants mortality?
usually for love. I bet it's
Seems
for love.
pretty
in this.
cool from a
I
moral
think-
perspective.
Well, I think one time I watched one of these movies by accident, and I remember the character said that they did not want to watch everyone they love die over and over and over.
Yeah, was that Highlander? or
good
something?
Something like that.
perspective,
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
Well, I
when they come
brought
out?
it down.
No, I guess you're right.
Well, there's your answer.
I
Dracula.
don't know, but
But
yeah.
it really kind of struck me. I said that does suck because I've lost people that are really close to
But
me,
can you
and
imagine-
I couldn't
but-
do that year after year after year.
Yeah, but then whole new set of friends.
Ah, yeah.
Like that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, but you only have one like brother or mother. Once they're done, you're just all. They're not family anymore, right? It's just friends. Not that friends aren't great, but it's different.
I think I've heard this idea amongst the narratives of immortal characters where you end up being lonely because no one sticks around long enough for you.
You might have heard that in that movie, The Immortals. Everybody saw that, right?
The curse of being immortal.
God help us, we had to talk about it. All right, the point is, Adam says
Yes.
that in Les Mis, Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman were in that. And now all's right with the world because Russell Crowe is Jor-El and Hugh Jackman is Wolverine again.
Right
That's
on.
the point.
Oh, what a good Jor-El.
Now, for those of you who believe comedians are your best source for entertainment news, moving on, you're in
That's
luck.
us.
yeah, woohoo!
It's time to look at the world of movie news in a segment based on a series of posts we put up at themovieguys.net entitled The Latest. All right. What is shaken and bacon in Hollywood? Our first news story. Also opening this weekend is what I believe to be the 46th film directed by Woody Allen. I mean, who wouldn't believe Wikipedia?
Woody Allen has a movie coming out.
Yes.
Who knew?
It's called Blue Jasmine and stars Kate Blanchett as a New York City housewife who suffers a life crisis and falls from grace, retreating to San Francisco to reconnect with her sister. Let's get some thoughts. Karen?
Clever marketing campaign where you don't know movie is opening and you don't know what it's about.
Lee?
Woody Allen has a new movie coming out?
Yes, Kate Blanchett loses all her money and goes nuts or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, this is a movie where they're slumming it in a Woody Allen movie, which means all the well-dressed people argue in the poshly decorated living room of an apartment in San Francisco instead of a poshly decorated living room in the apartment in Manhattan.
Ah, big difference.
see.
Adam?
Oh, hey, Woody Allen's making a summer movie. I mean, I, for one, am looking forward to overeducated and affluent cyborgs talking about jazz and music and infidelity.
Interesting. Discuss.
I just
we have to?
realized if this was actually spelled like blue, BLEW, Jasmine, it might get a bigger audience. I just
No, well,
realized.
I saw that one.
Yeah, you saw that
And,
one?
yeah.
That's the porn version?
It also takes place in a living room.
Oh,
Blue
And
Iris.
is it
That's the porn version.
Blue Iris. Yeah.
Now he's like Star Trek movies, right? Every other one's memorable, right? So you got
I know.
you got your match point, but then you got Cassandra's dream, right? And
Right,
you
and
got
we had Midnight in Paris, huge hit, biggest grossing movie he's
And
ever
You'll Meet
had,
a Tall, Dark
Oscar
Stranger,
nominations.
right?
No,
Right.
and then To Rome with Love, which nobody remembers.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
one should be good.
yeah,
saw
exactly.
that.
According to what
Star
you said.
Trek movies.
I saw To
The odd
Rome
number,
with
it's an
Love
odd number, 46, right?
Yeah.
on the way to Rome, and it still didn't make me excited to watch it.
Is that the one with Owen
That's
Wilson?
funny. That's
Yeah,
a really
that's
that's a
kinda
good that's a
sad.
put down.
We did, yeah, we're on the plane.
On the plane on the way to go to Italy, and then I still was like, I don't know. I'm excited to see Rome, but not this movie.
Yeah, a little too jokey, whereas, Midnight in Paris had a huge concept that
That was
worked
cool.
not just as a joke, but as a huge thing that worked quite well.
Anyone see Scoop?
Nope.
Nope.
What was that one with Will Ferrell?
Melinda and Melinda?
Anybody?
Anybody?
No?
That's a thing?
That's a thing. But Match Point
Every
was
other
great.
one is completely unmemorable, not even mentioned.
Wow.
I can't remember the last Woody Allen movie I saw. Torch Song Trilogies, was that him?
No.
Okay.
All right, so let's get to the next story.
Manhattan.
A
Manhattan.
Bruce Willis video in which he is promoting his latest film, Red 2, has gone viral due to Willis acting more or less like a huge dick. Let's listen in.
Has any actor ever told you this, Jamie? This part is not acting, what we're doing right now. You might be, but we're just selling the film now. Sales. That fun part was making the movie.
Fun part happened, yeah.
I'm thinking about driving right now. I can hardly keep my mind on this interview. I'm thinking about driving somewhere, maybe the M1.
Let's get an RV.
Do you hear that?
I do.
It's the sirens. They're coming to take me away.
Not you, they're
Poor
not
guy.
taking you away. Go ahead. You have some great questions there, Jamie.
That poor guy. What a dick.
Your thoughts, Lee?
Bruce Willis is a dick? I'm sorry, Paul. Is this news?
Karen?
It must be that inviting charisma that shot Red 2 to number 5 at the box office.
Adam?
Oh, I guess the Letterman writers must have taken a day off of writing his charming personality for him.
I see. All right, discuss.
Yeah. All right.
It's so disappointing when you see these things.
But okay. So here's the thing about Bruce Willis. If you read Kevin Smith's recent book, he talks about when they made Cop Out, right? Really great story. I mean, of course, Kevin Smith, great storyteller, and Bruce Willis is a huge cocksucker. I mean, he sucks. Like, he's just a huge dick. Okay, so I had this argument with a friend of mine who's like, I can't believe, like, he heard the whole Kevin Smith story. Oh, by the way, funniest line in that is there was actually, they got to a point where and I think they say really tough actors will test the director, and you really have to sort of let him know where their ground is on the first couple days of shooting, or they'll walk all over you. And I guess he found his way to walk all over Kevin Smith. But you know what? I'm sure Kevin Smith's kind of a dick too, you know? But the funniest line in the story was they almost got in a, like, blows fight. And Bruce Willis was calling extra takes that he wanted. And finally, Kevin Smith's like, okay, I'm going to have a discussion with the director now or something. It calls Bruce Willis the director. And he's like, what'd you say? Cleared the set. And it's just Bruce Willis and Kevin Smith. And he said in the book, and he goes, he was right in my face. He was within striking distance. Movie geek moment. He was also in striking distance. I thought that was really funny.
That's a great line.
That's a great line. That's a very Kevin Smith line. So anyway, a friend of mine's like, he can't be in all these movies, these classic. I mean, he's so good in so many things. Obviously, Pulp Fiction and Sixth Sense and all this stuff. It's like it must be Kevin Smith must be a major part of that. But then I see something like this, and I'm like, he's kind of a dick. So,
You know who would never do that? Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you're in love. You're in love.
Tom would never disrespect another man's profession like that.
Here's the deal. Bruce Willis acted like that, and Red 2 still beat R.I.P.D. in the box office.
And I bet you the other guy's a much nicer actor.
What did R.I.P.D. beat? Did you ever find the list?
Nothing new. All older
old
movies
stuff?
that have been out a week or two.
Okay.
It was the lowest.
Despicable Me beat it. Didn't it?
Yeah, Ms. Despicable Me beat Turbo.
It hammered Dude, Where's My Car? It really.
Right, from 2000.
Yeah.
That's still in theaters, and it still beat it.
So what it brings up the question, what did Ryan Reynolds do on his press tour to sabotage the opening of his movie?
Must have been.
Let's listen. I think I got a clip of it here.
Okay.
Fucking grown up. Act like a grown up. You're not a baby. You're a fucking grown up. I'm here to fucking help you. That's all I was doing, was trying to help you figure out anything. You don't have to know. Talk to me.
That's enough of that.
That
You
sounds,
love playing that clip.
that
I
would
love
do it.
that clip. David O. Russell going nuts.
And because Ryan Reynolds' voice is so nondescript, that could have been him.
It
I
could
Heart
be Ryan Reynolds.
Huckabees.
All right, our final story, the great character actor Dennis Farina has died at the age of
Had the
69.
greatest Chicago accent ever.
He was a police officer who consulted on Michael Mann's film Thief and eventually found himself in front of the camera working with Mann, Steven Soderbergh, Barry Sonnenfeld, and more in great films like Midnight Run, Get Shorty, and Manhunter. What do you guys think? Adam?
Well, Paul, I just have to say,
I'm going to tell you something. I want this guy taken out, and I want him taken out fast. You and that other dummy better start getting more personally involved in your work, or I'm going to stab you through the heart with a fucking pencil. Do you understand me?
That's touching.
nice.
Karen?
I'd like to add.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
I feel you. Lee, your thoughts?
Well, Paul, I'd be remiss if I didn't say.
You guys are fucking burnout, Cindy.
Hey, Jimmy. Listen to me,
Sydney,
will ya?
sit down, relax, have a sandwich, drink a glass of milk, do some fucking thing, will you?
That means a lot. Oh, the great Dennis Farina.
Great Dennis
We
Farina.
applaud clips of his.
Yeah.
That's how
Well,
great
it's
he was.
in honor of his passing.
He was
acknowledged. He is a working man's Dennis Franz. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Dennis Franz, known for his elite characters in Woody Allen movies.
Well, what I'm saying is that you could go.
He's
I
the
mean,
I know
Chicago,
what you're saying.
he's the
Right?
Chicago Dennis Franz, right?
What?
Wasn't Dennis Franz from Chicago?
No, I mean, didn't he? I thought Dennis Franz was a New York accent.
Sipowicz.
He played, the New York guy, but I might have been from
Oh,
Chicago.
okay. Was he
Chicago.
Chicago?
Yeah, who knows?
Well, if you can't get one, you get the
Anyway.
other, right? That's always the deal.
But the question remains now: Dennis Franz.
Farina.
Now,
Dennis
Dennis
Farina.
Franz is alive. Dennis Farina, dead.
Dead.
James Gandolfini, also dead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What famous actor who played a gangster is next? That brings up that question.
I'm really not hoping, but I'm guessing Joe Piscopo from Johnny Dangerously.
Well, watch his back, right? Somebody's got the number on him.
Number 3 is coming up. They all go in threes, right?
Joe Pantoliano.
Joey Pants.
Watch your back.
Yeah. He was in Sopranos and Guido the Killer Pimp. So,
You know,
2 strikes.
I don't want to say this out loud because if I jinx him, I'll be really sad. But Mad Dog and Glory, Bill Murray played a gangster.
Don't say it.
Watch
Why would you even?
Why'd
put
I
him-
say that?
You love him.
I'm sorry.
I think the next one that's going to be hit is going to be the guy with the big hat from all the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
There you go.
Shut
That's
up,
it.
shut up,
Shut up, rabbit. Shut
up, rabbit.
Shut up.
The Thresher Slasher?
Don't make me plug you full of lead.
Oh my God.
The Thresher Slasher?
The boxing? Is that the boxing?
Yeah.
one? Oh, that crush it.
That was my introduction to Rancho Cucamonga. and then I came out to California, and there's a place called
There
Rancho
is a
Cucamonga.
Oh
Ran-
God,
Oh,
we
weird
got to
we
get
say
Bugs
that.
Bunny on this show. Too funny.
You know, I forgot what that was from.
Yeah.
Every time I go by Rancho Cucamonga, I think Rancho
Cucamonga.
That's amazing. That's what that's from. Amazing.
Those guys were so funny.
Well, here's a little treat for you listeners out there. You know, they're shutting down the idea of playing audition tapes online. Now, you know, if you ever see an audition tape from an old actor, they're saying, hey, these are personal, private moments the actors are having in front of the camera.
I
We shouldn't
once
put them
bought
online.
at Comic-Con a whole VHS of all the Star Wars auditions. I still
Wow.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are probably legend at this point.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes if you're breaking down or whatever, actors don't want you to see it, especially if they don't get the part.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
You know?
Yeah.
But we have some long-lost tapes of Dennis Farina auditions from other movies, parts he didn't
great.
get. But based on what I've heard and going over these, he should have been cast in a few of these. Some of these audition tapes go way back to the 70s, so let's just play a few. Here we go.
Okay, so you're Brody in this scene, and you're just chumming the waters, and the shark jumped up right in your face, and you have words of wisdom for Quant. Go.
Oh, whoa, what the fuck? We're going to need a bigger fucking boat.
Hard to believe he didn't get that.
Jaws. That was a
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been in Jaws.
He could have been in Jaws. I could have seen him as.
I think he could have been a
Brody.
better Quint.
Maybe, yeah.
He would have been a better Quint than
Yeah, maybe that's,
Brody.
that's his agent's fault.
That's
Shark
what-
goes in the
yeah.
fucking water, you cocksucker. You're in the cage. The shark's in the water. The fuck?
All right, let's play a different one. Here we go.
All right, you busted ghosts for a while now, but Walter Peck has put you in jail. You have to convince the mayor that you should be back on the streets busting more ghosts. Are you ready? 40 years of darkness, earthquake, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice. Fucking dogs, fucking cats living together. What the fuck?
Fantastic.
Oh, he didn't get that. That one went to Bill Murray.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
really a
yeah.
shame.
Another gangster.
Another
as Aaron has
gangster,
pointed
shut
out.
You know what I like, though, is that he's trying. He tried to branch out, and then Hollywood said no.
No.
You stay there in that pigeonhole.
You're not the leading comedic guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why I say
too bad.
Dennis Franz is the smartest working man in Hollywood. He said, you want me to play a cop for 27 years? Done. Where's the paycheck?
Yeah, character actors.
He gets to eat as well.
All right, well, here's let's play one last one. Here we go.
All right, darling. You're Superman. You've saved a plane load full of people with the powers you've brought with you from the planet Krypton. Darling, go.
Well, I certainly hope this little incident hasn't put you off a flying, miss. Statistically speaking, of course, it's still the safest way to travel. Now sit the fuck down and put a pillow around your fucking head. There we go. That's
Wow.
You know what I think his problem might have been?
What? Yes.
He brought a little too much of himself to every one of the roles. Sometimes he just needs to be the person on the paper, right? Just be the character on the page, Dennis.
Yes. And then what? He'd be Superman? He would have got the part as Superman?
He would have been Wolverine, yes.
Yeah, you nailed your Dennis Farina.
Did I?
I think so.
Wow. Well, I mean, because those were authentic tapes.
I mean,
It's
sorry.
amazing how. I mean, it's clear that there's different people.
No, seriously, I was wondering as I was listening to it, going, is this even remotely close? I mean, everyone knows we're good.
I think you got closer than me. You got closer.
Yeah,
Because the way to get in character for Dennis Farina is to say the name of his character from Crime Story. Mike Thorelli.
Mike Thorelli.
Mike Thorelli. Now read your line again.
Mike Thorelli.
Mike Thorelli. Ah, what the fuck? You're going to need a bigger fucking boat.
Mike Thorelli. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Mike Thorelli. I certainly hope this little incident hasn't put you off a flying, miss.
Now sit the fuck down and put a fucking
I used to
pillow
do that when I had... I was, of all things, the doer's Scotsman once.
That's
I
right.
used to go dressed in full Scottish garb from head to toe into bars and buy doers for everybody. And I was like the greatest guy of the night, who didn't love me
You had
and
to
coming
have
to
your
buy
accent.
drinks. And I had to have an accent.
What
And I
was your phrase?
It was from Braveheart. I love you. I want to marry you. Once I did that, I was there for a little bit. I tried. I did what I could. So yeah, sometimes I'd be like, Scotsman, come over here. There, be there in a second. I love you. I want to marry you. Who wants a doers? Quietly to myself.
I love you.
All right, well, enough of this news shenanigans. There's another movie opening,
More
July
movies.
26th. The To-Do List, which reminds me, I was supposed to do something right after the bit where we all do Dennis Farina impersonations.
Paul, preview the to-do list.
That's it. I should have written that down. Let's see, to-do list, yes. Here it is.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's see. Number 1, tell the audience what the to-do list is about. We can get to that.
All right.
2, make good-natured jokes about the to-do list, like the to-do list, what every sleazy Hollywood producer calls all his favorite hot actresses.
Oh.
3, make audience.
I don't think you're wrong with that.
I think that's true.
3, make audience laugh hysterically. We'll get to that. 4, educate. All right, let's get started.
Not gonna be enough time.
That may have to get cut.
Scratch educate.
All right. We'll edumacate instead.
There you go.
The summer of counter-programming continues with a movie in which nobody has superpowers and no robots fight. Unless you call teen genitals robots, and if that is the case, get out. No podcast for you, you weirdo.
Instead, the to-do list is a sex comedy so raucous in body that its actual working title was The Hand Job. If you've been hoping for a comedy with the balls to have balls, then this might be the movie for you.
The To-Do List is the big screen debut of writer-director Maggie Carey, co-creator with Liz Kakowski of The Janine Tate Show on YouTube, and wife of Bill Hader, who also stars in the film.
Is it the Jeannie Tate Show?
Jeannie Tate.
Jeannie
Tate, sorry.
Aubrey Plaza plays Brandy Clark. Clark spelled with a K, which already sounds like a stripper name. A straight A, type A student who's graduated from high school without a single sexual experience.
So she spends the summer prior to college preparing to have sex by creating an anal retentive trapper keeper full of every sexual experience short of anal. It's Judy Moody tries to get laid.
Okay, so now might be a good time for us to discuss something called willing suspension of disbelief. Willing suspension of disbelief,
Yes.
according to Wikipedia, is a term coined in 1817 by the poet and aesthetic philosopher Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who suggested that if a writer could infuse a human interest and a semblance of truth into a fantastic tale, the reader would suspend judgment concerning the implausibility of the narrative. For example, whenever a seemingly illogical casting choice is made.
They want Charlton Heston to play a Mexican.
Or, in this case, where a young girl can't get laid in high school. And, it's also the other reason why we have professional wrestling.
Now, this period piece, set in 1993, stars a who's who of, hey, I know that guy. Amongst them, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Donald Glover, Andy Samberg, and even Agent Coulson himself, Clark Gregg.
I call bullshit. In the trailer, we see her poring over a list of sexual acts, most of which I don't even think were around in 1993. Like the tossed Twitter or the Bieber Brumsky.
This is a movie made possible by the lack of the internet. Without the world wide web of smut, Brandy is left to her own devices when it comes to figuring out what the Rear Admiral is. Today's teens have so much more access to revealing the secrets of how to defile one another. Now, all you have to do is Google Cleveland Steamer or One-Eyed Turtle and bing, mystery solved.
If this movie took place in the present, it would have to be set in junior high school.
How are you? Why don't you have a seat right over there?
Here's what I want at the end of the film. It's 18 years later, and the girl who finally had sex right out of high school is teaching her 18-year-old daughter the dangers of going all the way before college.
Prediction?
Yes.
This kills Wolverine. I'm telling you, it is the summer of counter programming.
Yeah.
The opposite of what I'm saying about superhero movies, which is glorious for me, is that how many superhero movies have come out this year? Wolverine's going to get.
I think Wolverine is 8.
8.
Yeah, I think so.
What was released in January? Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The point is,
you're not supposed to remember what comes out in January. That's why they put it in January.
But the point is, like, The Conjuring. I mean, that really killed. What was the one where
The Purge killed?
The Purge killed. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, we'll go to the major ones. Like Man of Steel did really well, and
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Did really
exactly.
well. Yeah.
So I think Wolverine, unfortunately, I think will sort of middle a little bit here, and this I think this movie will do 40 or something.
I think
Not
part
40,
of it.
maybe 30 or something.
So you seriously think the to-do list will beat the Wolverine?
I have a feeling. I mean, it looks really funny.
And the demographics much
The
broader.
I mean, this is all the kids are out of school right now.
And
There's so many
girls-
kids in the demographic that are, this is gonna
More likely, you're going to get teenage girls, girls going off to college. All those women are going to see this before they see the Hugh Jackman movie. Just because he's Hugh Jackman doesn't mean you want to go see him if he's got like fucking knives and shit coming out of his hands. You want to see him making love to a woman and being
This
hot.
is about a girl that wants to get laid.
Chicks would dig this
I am
movie.
going to see this.
And dudes are going to go see it.
And also, I think the people behind this are really clever and really smart. And I
Yes, they made a movie about a girl who wants to get laid.
That's smart. Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah.
But I think this will
Brain power.
This will get like the bridesmaids word of mouth too. If it's
Yeah.
as funny as it looks like it is from the trailer, I think it's actually more clever than the sort of standard,
Last American Virgin.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? Oh yeah. That used to be our teen sex
And
movie
those
about
movies
some goofy dude who's trying to stick it in.
The sex comedies of the 80s.
Oh, Last
horrible.
American Virgin, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Usually a nice
Oh,
rack
I
or
like
something.
Fast Times.
Mischief, you can tune in to see Kelly Preston naked, which is
Yeah.
like the greatest thing ever. A horrible movie. I still haven't seen the whole movie. I've only seen the naked parts of that movie. My Tutor, same thing.
Oh yeah,
Wait.
blame it on
Class?
Rio. all those
Class?
How about Porky's?
Class.
Remember
Porky's?
Porky's?
Sure.
Oh,
It's like the grand. That's like the grand.
that is
daddy.
the granddaddy of
That
them
is-
all.
that
That-
set sail 1,000 ships
Yes.
because that for the rest
Yep.
of our youth and cable and everything, it was Porky's ripoffs. Hard Bodies. Can you imagine
Yeah.
a worse movie than Hard Bodies? You know?
Fraternity Vacation.
Yes.
Yeah, all bad.
Malibu Beach Bikini Hotel.
But there is something interesting about this movie that was brought up to me over the weekend. Justin Bowler, a friend of the movie guys, said he heard an interview with Rachel Bilson, who's in the movie, who was trying to sell it by saying, "Oh, don't worry, there's no nudity in it." Like, I don't know what group she was trying to appeal to.
Mormons?
And Justin went, "I'm out."
I know,
Exactly.
right?
Like,
That's
what are
weird.
we doing here? Young
say
girl
that.
trying to have sex, and
Yeah.
now there's no nudity. So I don't know what they're trying to do. If that's a selling point or not a selling point.
They do
It's
have a-
interesting to hear though. For what looks like a sex comedy, that there won't be much.
Yeah.
sex.
The nudity's kind of been out of movies for a while. Sex
Well-
comedies haven't had sex in them for a while, right?
I think they're out there. We're just not watching them.
Well, now
Rightfully
I'm
so.
like really uncomfortable now in a room of 60 people watching two other people getting it on the screen.
That's
Like,
because
there's
you're
just-
old Grandpa Caius.
No, it's because I'm used to being at home by myself with my internet watching nude people getting it on. I don't need a crowd around me. I think that's losing its appeal. Like being in a room full of strangers watching two other people go at it isn't as, you know.
I think the closest it's going to come to sex is like that scene where the one girl's next to the guy in Animal House and giving him a hand job, and she takes the glove off, right?
Well, if you're not even going to try.
I mean, that's the joke. It's not sex. It's just there for the joke.
Yeah, I mean,
And this really was called The Hand Job in its first draft. Yeah.
there's something about Mary is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and you could kind of call that a sex comedy because it's got all this semen jokes and everything. But there's no nudity in that, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it gets its R from lots of other adult shit.
Boobs.
Well, let's get on to the guest segment. And this is an interesting part of the show this week because it's different. Rather than someone joining us here in the Admirals Club, we had the pleasure of meeting up with the one and only Lloyd Kaufman at the San Diego Comic-Con. But let's talk about Comic-Con for a second. Now, Adam, this was your first year going down there, yeah?
Yeah. Now, I am a veteran of many Comic-Cons. I went to WizardCon every year I was in Chicago, and we went to WonderCon earlier this year. And I had always heard the big granddaddy was the San Diego Comic-Con. Always heard. I mean, it is. It's just, it is. It's the huge thing. So this is my first year. I only went there on Saturday. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of not going early the night before and sleeping on your hotel floor so that I could make it into the line at 5 a.m. to wait to get into Hall H. Instead, because
5 a.m., by the way, put you 4,000 people back in line.
That's amazing. That Hall H is, I mean, that's like a baseball stadium of people watching people talk about movies. It's amazing.
Exclusive clips and all that.
All the exclusives. I mean, I missed the year to not miss that, and I'm so accustomed to walking the floor and looking for comics and looking for toys, like as I had in Chicago and stuff like that. So that I was like, no, I'll just do the floor. I'll just get there at 9 a.m. on the day, and I'll sleep in my own bed and all that sort of stuff. Boy, what a mistake, because this year, I mean, they showed the first footage from Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, the X-Men Days of Future Past. They revealed that the title of Superman 2 or Man of Steel 2 would be Superman versus Batman. They revealed that the title of Avengers 2 would be Age of Ultron. Yep. They had Tom Hiddleston came out dressed as Loki.
That's something I never saw before, that Marvel got theatrical. Like,
yeah.
It's usually, hey, here's a bunch of shit we've been shooting, and check it out. You guys are the first to see it. Isn't that awesome? But, like, the lights went out, puny humans. And we're like, oh, everybody went, wah! And he came out, and he's like, I demand you all obey me. I'm building an army, and all this shit. And everyone was just like, wah! And then he said, here's my proof of my arm, and he showed a clip. And that was it. That was all they talked about, Thor, The Dark World. Kevin Feige came out, well, we have The Dark World. Puny human, you know? And so then that was it. When they were done, the lights came up, started talking about Captain
America. So, Paul,
America.
he did interactive theater?
He did.
Wow.
Because he chose to.
All right.
When we did it, we had to. Yeah. That
Just
was
saying.
our job in the Renaissance fair.
Anyway, it was the most exciting Hall H possible. It was my very first year in San Diego, and I did not go to Hall H. Instead, I walked the floor, which didn't look like any floor I'd ever been to at any Comic-Con. There were no comics, There were very few comics there.
What? There's a whole retail section.
There is a whole retail section, but most
DC's
of
got
it,
a presence. Marvel's got a presence.
Most of these, but there's no comics at those. There's just these gigantic.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I mean, the floor is gigantic. There's gigantic sets for Walking Dead. They built a whole prison. There's a whole prison
with zombies walking
around.
And
you walk through the prison. I mean, it was insane. It's just insane. It's an awesome sight to see. And
let me just go briefly on the Walking Dead presence. On the trade show floor, they had the huge thing you mentioned for the TV show. In the center, they had a huge booth for the comic book, and on the far end, they had a huge thing with a guy dressed like Rick in a car and a whole big boarded up thing
for the video game.
Yeah. And then if you went across the street, the entire Petco Park where the Padres play was turned into a giant zombie maze that you could either pay to run through or pay to be dressed up and made up like a zombie from the people who did the TV show and chase people. Which is just incredible. It's like
that is some promotion right there.
Yeah.
That is the most professional promotion gets. That San Diego.
It's
Comic-Con.
Disneyland. It beats Disneyland for Disneyland gets buried for 3 days a year by Comic-Con.
Yeah, and I was lucky I wasn't playing the Harley Quinn drinking game, because the number of hot Harley Quinns, which must be the new hot biker or hot cop for chicks, Harley Quinn, the Joker's,
there's hot whatever. It's like there's hot Ghostbusters, there's hot chick Jokers, there's hot everything.
But man, shoulder to shoulder, just a billion people in that walking that floor. It was a sight to see. It was really cool.
Yeah. So next year you'll have to go down and do at least one trade show floor day and one Hall H day.
Yeah.
And be honest, the year they announced the Avengers cast and they all came out on stage, that was a big. There's always a big day in Hall H.
Yeah.
So next year there'll be a big day in Hall H day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they'll start talking about Star Wars next year because that's going to come out in 2015, unless Disney hoards all that for their own personal convention.
What was Sandra Bullock doing there?
Promoting Gravity, the new Alfonso Cuarón movie with her and Clooney that comes out the end of the year.
And that's a romantic comedy? What is that?
No, it's a sci-fi drama in outer space.
Damn it. All right.
It's those two people get left in the sea with sharks in space, right?
Yeah, it's open water in space.
Open water in space.
Yeah.
It's a line of makeup.
That was the working title. I got that.
Open
close.
water.
That was close. It was close.
Yeah. And the shot they showed was a super long tracking shot that was like a 5-minute shot, which is what Cuarón is getting used to doing now with Children of Men and all that. So it looked really great. Everything there looked great. 300 Rise of an Empire looked meh. Like I don't know if we need another 300 sequel, but They
I
proclaimed
can
how
answer
much
that.
work they did.
No.
Everybody was there for X-Men, right? Hugh Jackman, the whole cast. I mean, that's a gigantic cast for that X-Men movie they're shooting right now.
Yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past I thought was going to be a first-class sequel that would include all the people from that movie plus Wolverine. Not true. It's a whole time-spanning storyline that involves the current X-Men and the X-Men when they were young. So it will include Jennifer Lawrence and James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender and Ellen Page, but it will also feature Anna Paquin and Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and they all come on stage and everyone went, "Blah!"
You know, that actually, when you listed all of those big, high, powerful names, it just sounded like an animated movie.
As we discussed last year. Yeah.
I'd go see that one.
Put that many names in a movie, it's got to be animated.
It's got to be animated.
But
and if you stayed late enough one night until 10 o'clock and went very far away from all that exciting action, you could go see the Troma panel.
That's true. Yeah, like they, I don't know if they're relegated to
a whole
9
other
p.m.
building.
at night. Yeah. That's actually the whole ballroom section. Yeah, there's after-hours activities. After the trade show floor closes, there's still shit going on.
They take over 3 whole buildings there. Because I went to the panel. The one I got to make it to was for Seth Meyers and The Awesomes, which is on Hulu.
I finally saw a trailer for that. Yeah, it looks fun.
It was so funny. I mean, they showed the whole pilot of it, and it's really, I mean, Seth Meyers wrote it, and it's really well written. But that was in a whole lot. That was in the Hilton. You had to go all the way over to the Hilton. And if you went to the to Lloyd's thing, the Troma thing, you went all the way to another building.
Yeah. And the Marriott next door will have things, and then all over town they're putting up stuff.
I would just like to point out, for those of you who have not heard Lee or I say a word this whole time, it's because we did not go to Comic-Con. Instead, Lee, I would just like to say, I'll let you know, that I actually stayed home and watched Downton Abbey. Hour after hour after hour of Downton Abbey.
Good shit.
It was really
Crack-like.
good. It's crack-like. I'm almost to the end of season 2, and I just, like, even right now I'm thinking, oh my God, whenever we're done talking about this, I can go watch Downton Abbey.
All right, well, let's get to the important part of talking
Lee,
about
what
Comic-Con.
did you do?
I think I took a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did want to go. The reason I like going to these, the first Comic-Con thing I went to was WonderCon.
Earlier.
And Grandpa Caius does not like crowds and noise and
waiting in line.
And waiting in line and people and, leaving the house is not really my forte. But I do like going to these Comic-Cons because I'm like the toughest guy in the room. There's just no hostility there. Everyone's really getting along. There's a lot of friendliness. And like every time I go to a place where there's a lot of people, it's usually a sporting event or a concert, and everyone's drunk, and there's all sorts of fights and people wanting to get. These are just everyone hanging out and being cool.
Oh, it's a love
really,
fest.
It is. When I got you sent a text or a Facebook. You were on the train of friendlies.
Yeah. It's so fun.
you take public transportation all over LA, and it's just the dregs of humanity. So I
remember
going
to Comic-Con. It's the magic train.
But yeah, exactly.
Here, have my seat. Can I help you with your bag? Are my wings on? Stuff like that.
I'm sorry, my wing is in your way.
Exactly.
Is that your trident?
I always loved that in Chicago, and I got that feeling again when I hit the Amtrak for San Diego. But in order to get there early enough, you got to be there at 6 a.m. Now nobody's piling into an Amtrak at Saturday morning at the station. But of course, there I am, surrounded with all the T-shirts and people with the headgear on and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is
nobody
good.
with a fanny pack is going to throw a punch on a crowded train. It's just you're with good people.
That's good.
Now, Adam mentioned the Troma Entertainment panel. So,
Troma's something, aren't they?
Well, Lloyd Kaufman, the founder of Troma,
one of the most successful independent filmmakers of all time.
Indeed, 40 years now of independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
He graciously met me at the Troma Entertainment booth. That booth is always a staple at Comic-Con. Now, for those of you who don't know, Lloyd Kaufman is the co-founder of Troma Entertainment, along with Michael Herz. Lloyd also directed Troma's biggest hits, including The Toxic Avenger and Tromeo and Juliet. As an actor, he has appeared in over 30 films, including Rocky, Orgasmo, Slither, and Crank High Voltage. He also serves on the board of the Independent Film and Television Alliance. Let's go to San Diego.
His name is Uncle Lloyd. He's the kingpin of Troma film. He makes the kind of movies that would make on the page.
I just wanted to find out who influenced you. Like, whose films did you watch that set you off in this path?
I think when I was at Yale, I was mesmerized by the auteur film directors because I speak French. So I read the magazines of the Cinémathèque Française, articles by people like Claude Chabrol and Jean-Luc Godard. They were filmmakers, but they were critics, and they were propounding the auteur theory of filmmaking, where the filmmaker is supposed to be in charge of everything, the author of his, her, or its work. So I bought into that stupid theory, and
here you are.
That fucked my life. Yes, I stayed in New York and stayed in the underground. And hey, look who's here! It's the Toxic Avenger. Jesus Christ!
It's the Toxic Avenger.
Toxie's here.
Toxie, how many movies?
How big he is? He's so big. Toxie's so big. Look at he's so big. And Toxie, thank you for being here.
Yeah, Toxie. How many movies have you appeared in?
I believe over 7 feature films.
Is that correct?
Been in, and also, if you don't mind my talking about you in the third person, Toxie is the only hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength whose movie included a young boy, a hairless young boy, very attractive, may I say. In fact, that young boy had his head squashed by the wheel of an automobile.
I remember that scene.
It's the only movie of that nature to be made into a politically correct children's environmental cartoon show called The Toxic Crusaders.
Remember that too.
Toxic Crusaders. Everybody, Toxic
Crusaders.
They're gross, but they still get girls. Well, thank you, Toxie. This has been fascinating. Anything else you care to say?
I love the environment. Everyone should recycle. I believe that it is very important to turn off the lights when you leave a room and buy lots of Troma movies.
Toxie's so big too.
Oh, he's gone. We can stand up. No, he was. Yeah, so long, Toxie. Farewell.
So big.
Any truth to the rumor there might be a Toxic Avenger reboot?
Well, Akiva Goldsman, who is an Oscar-winning writer-director.
Beautiful Mind?
Beautiful Mind, yes. And you have a very beautiful behind, may I say.
Thank you. That's not awkward at all.
So, and it rhymes. So, where were we now? Yes, Akiva Goldsman, along with Stephen Pink, who directed and wrote Hot Tub Time Machine.
He did.
And High Fidelity, as well as, if I'm not mistaken, Grossy Pointy Blank. Sorry. Grossy Pointy Blank. Stephen Pink has written and directed, he has written and will direct the remake. And the last I heard, this was announced at the Cannes Film Festival, so it's no secret, they signed Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he is not playing the Toxic Avenger.
But he will appear.
Apparently he will have a featured role, or a featured croissant, and I believe the character he is to play is named Lloyd Kaufman.
And will he be an independent studio mogul?
No, he plays a former Blackwater guy from Iraq who is now a retired ex-Terminator. He's now in the insect repellent business, ex-Terminator. It's supposed to be a joke.
It was.
Again, I have not read the script, but Stephen Pink is very good. Stephen Pink is a very talented, very good director. So I think, a lot of people are upset about the remake of The Toxic Avenger, but you don't go to movie jail for making a good remake, right? A Star is Born, have you seen that?
Yeah.
With Judy Garland?
Yes, but I did not see the what was it, Barbra Streisand made the other one?
Well, A Star is Born is the third, that's George Cukor's version with Judy Holliday. Are you gay? Because that's usually people who see that movie are gay.
I'm not gay, but I have a wife.
Well, I'm gay and I have a wife, both. And I am gay, so there. But A Star is Born is the third iteration of that movie. And it's one of America's greatest, one of film history's greatest movies. So this is what I'm trying to say, is sequels and remakes can often be better than the original. Eric Marie Remarque, who did All Quiet on the Western Front, the remake of his silent film, the remake is much better. The sound film is infinitely better than so people who are upset about the remake of Toxic Avenger, as Raymond Chandler said when they interviewed him about all the crappy movies made about his books, he said, well, look, there's a shelf full of them. They're still here. The Toxic Avenger, here it is. Look. It's still here. Fanboy, if you don't like the sequel, you go and support Uncle Lloydie and buy a couple of films instead of taking them off the internet, and illegally.
I believe it was.
I don't mind.
I believe it was Toxic Avenger 2 that had one of my favorite lines all time in the movies. They were clearing out all. Is that the one where they were clearing out all the homeless people from the park? And one of the rich guys comes up to a homeless person and says, "Neither a borrower nor a lender be, William Shakespeare." And the homeless person says,
Fuck you, David Mamet.
That's a great line.
Now, what the interesting about that kind of humor is you got it, and about 3 other people got it. And the woman who got the punchline had no idea what she was saying. But Janet Maslin of the New York Times loved that joke, and I think that joke had a lot to do with getting a good review in the New York Times for The Toxic Avenger Part 2. So, you don't have to talk down to your fans. Even if you make a movie with young naked boys and girls getting bloodied or whatever, you don't have to make it stupid. Poultrygeist is very witty. I don't know, have you seen that?
I've not seen Poultrygeist.
It's a musical. And you say you're not gay, so you may not like it, but
this is what I say.
It's a witty.
I stand by that.
It's a witty. Would you like to in me? It's a witty show, Poultrygeist. The songs are witty. Do you want me to sign that?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna pause for a sec. Well, Lloyd signed something.
I feel witty. I feel witty.
I feel witty. Oh wait, I'm turning gay again. Sign the thing before we get.
Sorry.
Hey, we have an instant exclusive interview with a guy who just met Lloyd Kaufman. What'd you think?
Hi. Oh my goodness, I am incredibly impressed. The man is a living legend, second to none in the industry in terms of creativity and filmmaking and drive. I'm deeply honored to have met the legend.
Well, there you go.
Except that he was talking about Steven Spielberg, who's got the booth next door.
Oh, is that right?
But you can say it was about me. Luckily, there are no cameras here, so nobody will.
Right. No, we're not recording this at all.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Are you like a director or something?
Do I have a what?
Are you like a director?
Oh, a director. Of course I am.
Of what?
What? So ask that question again. What were you asking?
What are you part of? What do you make?
What do we make?
Yeah, what do you make?
After we have a big burrito, we make a big duty. That's funny. That's funny, kid. There.
Like, what do you make? Do you...
Justin Bieber's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, give us a couple of... Show us...
Baby,
And that's 15 minutes. Thanks.
Okay, where were we?
All right, well, I think we're wrapping things up. Who's your favorite filmmaker?
I would have wrapped it up a long time ago.
Who's your favorite filmmaker?
Tremendous patience. My favorite filmmaker? The movie men, I've been watching them and...
Movie guys.
The movie guys. I used to like Chaplin and John Ford, Keaton... But now, I think the movie guys really is taking over my brain.
It's because we ask everybody this who's on our show. We have a lot of indie filmmakers on and that kind of thing. Your favorite film of all time?
Well, my favorite film of all time, and I've only seen it once, is by a Japanese, I know I'm smiling, but this is serious, a Japanese filmmaker, the John Ford of Japan, or you could say John Ford was the Mizoguchi of America. But Mizoguchi made a movie called Princess Yang Fei. And if you look up the word sublime in the dictionary, you will find Yang Fei. It's based on the Chinese novel, Journey to the West, and a piece of it. But
that's a great novel.
Princess Yang Fei. It is, and it was kind of a religious experience. So I vowed never to see it again. And some fans of mine gave me a video tape of Princess Yang Fei in a plexiglass box with a lock and key, and it says break open if there's an emergency. But I sort of, I guess it's kind of like sex for the first time. A lot of people feel that's the best. I didn't, till I found that donkey. I didn't, that's when sex was the best for me. But
they don't fight back, so.
They don't fight you, man. They had a hell of a time. Ropes, I had to use them. Luckily, it didn't cut them. At any rate, where were we? We were talking about Princess Yang Fei.
Right.
I would say that's the most intense.
Sorry, we got interrupted by donkey sex. We were talking about the most sublime film ever made.
Well, I did have that accident in Mexico. I was much younger then.
What's next for Troma?
Well, right now we are completing Volume 2 of Return to Nukem High. And I think, honestly, Quentin Tarantino suggested, I asked him how we are based in the underground, and it's very hard for us to get noticed in this age, as you can probably tell here at Comic-Con, which really is dominated by the giant conglomerates. So Quentin said, well, make an event film, make it different, and do what he did with Kill Bill, Volume 1, Volume 2. So that's what we're doing with Return to Nukem High. Volume 1 is completed. It'll be out theatrically toward the end of 2013, beginning in 2014 by Starz, S-T-A-R-Z. And then we're shooting Volume 2 now, and just about finished with principal photography. And you'll be happy to know it's the first Troma movie that will end, I hope I'm not spoiling this, but it'll end with a wonderful Bollywood dance scene, just like Slumdog Millionaire.
Will the whole film lead up to, and you're expecting a Bollywood dance?
No, it will have nothing to do with the Bollywood dance.
No, you haven't spoiled it at all.
Oh, good. Any rate, Return to Nukem High, and then The Toxic Avenger Part 5. We're trying to write that. I've been working on it for 5 years and getting nowhere. But I do believe right before Comic-Con, we came up with a beginning, middle, and end, and we're going to start writing it. We've written about 8 different scripts for Toxic Avenger Part 5. The only thing I can say is that it will include his twins who were born in Citizen Toxie, the Toxic Twins, and Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD will have a featured role, but I still haven't, we just don't have a good draft yet, but that should be our next movie.
And Toxie was here just moments ago.
Toxie was here,
he didn't go on about it. I thought for sure he'd gone.
Well,
he must have been keeping it under wraps, as probably he was told he should.
Well, I was
just still in the bag for us, right?
Well, we do like to kind of not talk too much, as you can tell by me. I was just in James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy because he and I did Romeo and Juliet together. So he gave me a small part in his Marvel Disney in England. It's a $200 million movie, and they would not permit any publicity, or I'm not supposed to talk about it. Luckily,
you just did.
Oops.
We can talk this much about it, I imagine, right? I don't want the mouse coming down on me. No, all right.
No, I think that's all right.
Okay.
But they were like really, really strict about. Usually, I film behind the scenes and stuff like that, but they didn't want any of that. But with the Toxic Avenger, any of the Troma movies, we're pretty open about it. We're happy to. Any publicity we can get, we're happy with.
Oh, and I do have one last question from my wife, who contacted you about being on our show today. How can a cute girl go about being in a Troma film?
Well, first of all, we do not use the word girl. Girl is politically incorrect. If you listen to NPR, you can be politically correct. You can also have a very uninteresting life. But the word is gyno American. You don't say woman. That has that has the word man in it.
Right.
You definitely don't
then
say.
You're labeling them, really. You're comparing
That's
them in what you're calling them.
Gyno American is okay. If you were, say, Australian non-male, you would say gyno Australian or gyno Brit. So that's the NPR way to go.
How can a gyno American find their way into a Troma film?
Well, I think that the best thing is to follow me on Twitter at Lloyd Kaufman. I do announce when we're getting ready to cast movies, and just be very aggressive about it. Most of the people in our films are people who love to. They either love Troma movies or they want to be in an they want to be in an independent movie that means something to them and comes from the heart. And they also have to sleep on the floor, eat cheese sandwiches 3 times a day, and learn how to defecate in a paper bag. So if your wife is okay with all that.
Now, should she come in already with the skills of defecating into a paper bag, that puts her ahead?
I would say that would put her way ahead, yeah.
For a gyno American.
For a gyno Brit.
For anybody.
Gyno
really.
French, sure, absolutely.
What's on tap for the celebration when you have your panel and you celebrate the 30th anniversary of Nukem High?
Well, first of all, I think that I'm a senior citizen, so I might be dead before the panel. It's tomorrow.
It's like at 9:45.
I could die any minute. I mean,
right.
Johnny Soprano, whatever his name is, he's dead, 58. I could die, so I'm not going to even think about what we're doing because...
Too exciting.
It's not worth it. I could have a heart attack. I don't want to stress. Look at me. I mean, I'm a bundle of nerves already being on...
The movie guys.
Thanks, the movie guys. My favorite movie of all time. I'm so nervous. So at any rate, but tomorrow we will show some clips from Return to Nukem High. They've never been shown to the public. We'll have some stars here. I think that Judah Friedlander's on the list. Ron Jeremy. They're both in the film. So it'll be a pretty interesting star-studded event. Deep in the reeds of the underground. But usually we get a couple of thousand people who show up.
Yeah.
I hope you can come and film it.
It'll be out of the booth and onto the big stage here where they have their panels.
Will you be available to
I believe so. We're staying here through tomorrow. Absolutely.
Well, if you're here, please come and I can announce that you are the movie guys.
The movie dudes.
The movie guys, and that that's my favorite movie of all time. And, you know.
Thank you, Lloyd. Best of luck on the big celebration. I will be there. Justin will be there. And we'll have some fun.
Well, please give Paul my best because I really like to follow Paul. He's terrific. He's on the movie.
I'm standing right next to you.
Oh, yeah, of course, Paul. Yes, Paul is here.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
They made a lot of movies and a lot of distribution.
I run the Troma Dance New Mexico Independent Film Festival. We just celebrated our 10th year.
10th year, Troma Dance New Mexico.
The longest running offshoot of the Troma Dance Film Festival. Our festival, Troma Dance New Mexico, is held every July in conjunction with the Albuquerque Comic Expo. So there's no fee to enter. You just go to the Albuquerque Comic Expo website, abqcomicexpo.com, fill out the form and send your movie in. It's free to attend, so you just show up and watch a really good movie.
Andrew proposed to Jessica in the Troma booth not 24 hours ago.
Hey, movie guys. Mary Swain is here.
Mary, how are you?
And Emily.
Tromette, is that the word?
Emily is a super Emily. And
Emily.
somebody's ejaculating. How lucky is a movie? This is Momo, the latest Troma discovery. She lights up the screen.
Thank you.
And tell us what happened, Momo. Tell us what happened tonight. What happened? Come to the camera a little bit.
We had an amazing night here.
Where were you? Where were you tonight?
Oh, we were at the Troma panel with the Troma family. Everybody once again here at Comic-Con San Diego.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. This is Captain, who did all the costumes for Subhumanoid Meltdown and The Good, the Bad, and the Humanoid. Class of Nukem High Parts 2 et 3, Mr. Captain, with Momo.
Momo is our new sensation here. She's getting ready to break out. We're going to break her out, and I guess she's going to be appearing in one of Lloyd's new movies coming up. So be watching for these beautiful lighted breasts coming your way. And I heard it's in 3D, by the way, too. So.
And that's Lloyd Kaufman, everybody. There he goes. He's a little scattered. I should mention that if you want to see Lloyd in person, he'll be at the Fantasia Expo in Montreal, August 1st through 3rd, and Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where we used to do interactive performance.
Let's not talk about it.
Community
public.
service. He'll be at Monster Mania Con August 16th and 17th, and go to Troma.com to track the progress of Return to Nukem High and everything they've got going on.
Yeah, they're making it. That's what the panel was about, is the Return to Nukem High.
I just want to say that whenever we were doing the movie guy stuff, I started to work more behind the scenes and try to help produce these segments and get guests and stuff. And so one day I just kind of woke up and was inspired to call Troma and see if I could talk to Lloyd. I thought, well,
He's
he
the sort of guy you can.
cool. And I just did a cold call, and I was put through the directory, and it said, who would you like to talk to? And I put down, I typed in Kaufman, and all of a sudden I heard a click, and then there was this weird room tone, and I heard go. And I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I decided I better just really go and start saying my thing. So I said, hey, Lloyd, this is Karen. I'm from the Movie Guys, and I just wanted to tell you that I had been in your festival. My husband and I made a movie, and we're doing a podcast. It would be great if you were on the show. And what was so cool is I started to feel the energy change, and he became very funny and very easy to talk to. And we talked for about 15 minutes, and he told me how to get a hold of him, and that's how he set up the interview. And he never acted like an ass or acted like he wasn't going to talk to me because I was just nobody. It was very cool. And He followed through. His assistant got the interview. He was there when he said he was going to be.
I should mention Megan, who was
awesome.
On the on-site coordinator for making everything happen. And her job's tough because, as you can see in the video, he's a little all over the place, scatterbrained when there's a big moment going on. When he's in his booth meeting people, he can get his attention. But at these panels, when there's people everywhere, and there's different cameras to play to, and there's all sorts of people who
he'll play to every single person in the room.
So, he's all over
He
the
was
place.
very cool, and I can't believe that, cold call actually turned into an interview. So thanks, Lloyd.
And it was very easily to quickly get caught back up into the Troma energy.
Yeah.
That I remember specifically from when we took the short film to Troma Dance, which now there are numerous Troma dances all over the place.
That's
When we
good.
went to Park City with it, I mean, they shout out Troma, and they run around, and they hug, and they make...
They're very
just,
welcoming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was cool.
And thanks to Official Rejection, the movie Official Rejection, Karen now knows that entire phone call, Lloyd didn't wear any pants.
I know, and that made me very happy. Yes. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, so the show needs a big finale. No better way
You don't
to go
remember
out.
this? No one else
I remember.
Yeah.
And then he got up
okay.
and walked away, and
Yeah,
he
you
saw
want
his
a medal?
butt.
No.
Go on about it.
Well.
The show needs a big finale. No better way to go out than with Karen's weekly segment. And we see who's having a birthday here at the end of July. It's Karen's birthday.
Well, starting off our birthdays this week is Robin Williams, who turns 62, but can play anywhere from box office gold to box office poison. Just to prove that even though I was a chick in little rural New York, Western New York, I've always been a movie guy. In 1987, Robin Williams starred in Good Morning Vietnam as an unorthodox and irreverent DJ who made the famous phrase, "Good morning, Vietnam." Remember he did that in the movie? Well,
Yeah,
I
I
used
think
to
I
do
remember
morning
that.
announcements. I know, right? Everybody
Can you remember the name of
remembers
that movie?
Casablanca.
RV! He tried to do that for all his movies.
It just never worked.
Goodwill Hunting!
That time it worked, and he got an award. Well, I was such a dork that I was doing morning announcements, and so one day I came in, and I'm telling you, it's way nothing is going on in my high school. And so you'd hear bing, 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 and then I'd said, "Please stand for a moment of reverent silence." And then everybody has to be quiet for a minute, and then I time it on this little timer. And then
Wait a minute. Was that in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance?
No, they had that too.
Just
We did
reverent
that.
silence?
No, we did Pledge of Allegiance first, and then I had to lead that, and then I had to do the little ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
And then I had a moment of silence, and then I said, "Good morning, Castaga Valley," and pretty much sealed that I was a giant dork.
The cafeteria went wild.
I did the same thing, and I just found this out about you today.
How
I did
funny.
this. I said I want to do announcements because I saw that movie, and I said I can go in there and make jokes and all these announcements
I
that
do
go on
not
every
think you
day.
two are alone in this. That must have been
exactly
the greatest thing to do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
wasn't using it
celebrating.
anyway. Assistant principals everywhere after that movie were like, oh, fuck.
So I'm like, only out of high school, you ready to rock? Doing voices and characters
Yeah,
and
but-
impersonations.
Yep.
I think it lasted like a month, and they we're done with this
You
guy.
can't do that anymore. Yeah.
What was that movie?
License to Wed.
That one where he's the president.
Roscoe on the Hudson.
Pat Chathams.
Toys.
All right, next up, happy birthday to Willem Dafoe, who turns 58, but has played 50 years old for the last 30 years. I've always found him to be strangely attractive, and I've just recently added him to my list of odd-looking, craggy-faced boyfriends, along with the Grace Lance Hendrickson, who I love very much, super cute Lyle Lovett, and number one funniest boyfriend of all time, Mr.
Gangster.
Bill Murray.
Oh.
Gangster, Mr. Bill Murray. You guys, if he dies, I'm going to be so upset.
I blame you.
I blame you guys.
Essential watching from his oeuvre, Streets of Fire.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
His mouth gets super wide in that one.
He does. Oh man, he was almost the Joker instead of Nicholson.
Oh, that's what I found out too. Yeah,
That wouldn't have been the gigantic hit that it was, but what a great Joker!
Yeah,
You'd have been a great Joker.
A young,
Yeah,
1989
Willem Dafoe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Bill Murray was going to be the Joker.
No.
Batman at one time, Ivan Reitman version.
Oh.
Ivan Reitman was going to do Batman at one time.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That would have been a great excuse for him to get very in shape, and I would have enjoyed that very much. I have to be alone for a minute. All right, and let's wish a happy birthday to Super Dave Osborne's younger brother, Albert Brooks, who turned 66. Yeah.
One of my
Real life.
heroes.
Real
One of my
life.
heroes.
I just saw him in This Is 40. Steals every scene he's in.
Funny. Funny
Real
as hell.
life, one of the funniest movies ever made.
Indeed.
He can play anywhere from put upon to just plain bothered. And he has a distinction of actually being on Paul's list of celebrity boyfriends along with Harrison Ford and Steve Martin.
Boyfriend, not, well, guys, legends, we can call them. Not boyfriend. I don't want to sleep with these guys.
But do you have a list of
Got a
people you'd like to
bromance?
sleep
I think
with?
you're putting that in female terms.
No, there's a list of guys.
Well, I'd like to sleep with Tom Cruise.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
that's different.
That's a given. All men would. And lastly, happy birthday
Not
to
saying
Just
Gay.
does macho shit.
But if I had to fuck a guy.
Just saying.
Even if I didn't have to.
It's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Just to tell people.
We can all agree on that, I think. Male and female alike. Happy birthday to Miss Edie McClurg, who turned 62 but can play anywhere from a woman in Wisconsin to a woman in Minneapolis.
Hard to believe she's not 80.
I know.
She's not 80.
She's been 62 as long as I've known her.
Absolutely.
The ultimate compliment for any woman. You know, it's hard to believe you're not 80.
You sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
Oh, I first
Ed.
saw her work when she played Mrs. Poole in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and therefore she became my first impersonation.
Do it.
Here we go. He makes you look like an ass is what he does, Ed. That Ferris Bueller, he's a righteous dude.
Can you say the Dirty Harry line?
I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
Ed, you sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
Oh, Ed. You sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
That is dead nuts
Thank
on,
you.
man.
That's that's my big impersonation.
We are totally going to have a fake
Happy
Edie
birthday,
McClure in
everybody.
here.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Birthdays. All right, thank you, Karen.
By the way,
Yes.
speaking of Edie McClurg, she's in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and her line is,
Oh, I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
"You're fucked."
Yeah.
right?
You're fucked. Did she say it with the accent?
That's the.
I want her
my
career.
fucking car right fucking now.
Yeah.
I want her career, man. She just.
It's great.
She's been in like 90. I've read her thing like 50 movies, 90 TV shows.
She's the female answer to Dennis Franz.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something from a couple weeks ago when we had Mitch Rouse on, and you posed the question, which sounded like kind of a silly question at the time, which was the character of Del Griffith in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles based on after Del Close? And we all thought, no.
Chicago, John Hughes, maybe.
Mostly Mitch thought.
Yeah, he kind of just thought you're stupid. But
the rest of us
anyway.
thought, it might be. Mitch is like,
I put two and two together shortly after that Del Close is in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He is the teacher that says,
yeah.
in what way
did the author's use
of the prison
symbolize?
That's Del Close. Improv legend. Anyway, so I would say yes.
Why not?
Ding, 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 ding.
And on that Ferris Bueller note, there's a girl I just did a show with. Her name is Heidi Bueller. And yes,
Bueller.
every time she's not in class, her friends would get so irritated.
Poor people named Bueller.
Because all of the teachers would just say, they'd go along and be like, Heidi Bueller. And then they wouldn't say here.
Yep.
And they would just do it. And the
Yep.
class is like, we
You gotta.
must kill you.
Sorry.
They would tell her she couldn't skip class anymore. They're like, no, we can't have it.
Well, that wraps another Showcast.
That's it.
That's it.
Woohoo!
Does, you know,
I think we nailed it this
Once you
week.
do birthdays, I mean, you can't go back. Right?
No.
Well, follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, on Facebook at facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, you name it, all that shit, LinkedIn. Thanks to the great Lloyd Kaufman and all the people at Troma Entertainment for welcoming Justin Bowler, who did a fine job, and myself at Comic-Con. Jamie Clark Yelvington keeping our shit together on the soundboard during
thank
production.
you.
And, of course, Steve Schultz for his writing contributions to the show every week. And remember, you can find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. Thanks for listening. Movie Guys!